$9,240,000,000.
Stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, stacking my coin.
You know what time it is. Let's go. Off the Chain, episode 84. We doing it live, people. Let's go. Get those thumbs up. Let's go.
You get this money, it never get born. I'm loading my strap, they calling the law. Fuck around your clap, for running your jaw. If it ain't about the dollars, then it don't make sense.
Got two of my favorite on with us tonight. My man, Crypto Keeper, and my guy, Mind Your Biz. Giving them a round of applause. Let's go. Go follow them. Let's go.
Stacking my coin. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash.
This is going to be a very informative live stream for you guys this evening, so tune in all the way to the end. Celsius token up 4,000%. How did I miss this? I don't know. Did you guys catch this wave? I definitely didn't. Hope you guys did, though. We're going to talk to the panelists tonight and see what they feel about Celsius at this price. And what does this even mean? What is the market telling us about Celsius? We'll talk about that tonight. Let's go. If you miss the Twitter space with Mind Your Biz and Cointelegraph about Tornado Cash, you need to go watch that. We're going to talk about the Tornado Cash sanctions and what does this mean for cryptos? Is it a bad situation for us? I think many people aren't taking this as serious as they should. We're going to talk to Mind Your Biz and Crypto Keeper on this because he followed it this week as well. Tune in for that. We definitely want to get your feedback on it. Let's go.
School, Beretta, I on the sparrow. I told you, make moves, nigga, stack the dinero. Make the world go round, you better get some.
In addition to that, we got Opensea changing their stolen NFT terms of service language after massive outcries from the community. We'll see what Crypto Keeper feels about this. He has a NFT release that's doing very well. Danger Close Alpha. Go check that out if you haven't. And also, proof of work fork losing some steam. Yes, the community is trying to fork off of the merge and keep Ethereum as a proof of work coin, but it's not looking too great. I said this would probably happen. We'll see what the panelists feel about this as well. Let's go.
Stay in tune to the moves of what they do to skyscrapers. I'm rising up to swags of a new flavor.
Don't forget to share and subscribe. Let's get it going, people. Let's go.
I keep my drive locked in, I keep it close to the chest. Ready for the right moment to rock on to the next. Cause as long as don't close and my pockets won't rest.
And is the ETH merge priced in? Some feel it's not. It has been on a rally decoupling from Bitcoin over the last couple of weeks. How do you guys feel about that? Let me know in the comments below. Lastly, something off topic, off crypto. Trump's Mar A Lago raid. We got to talk about this. This is huge. This is like as big as Tornado Cash sanctions are in the crypto space. All that on tonight's episode of Off the Chain, episode 84. Let's go.
Yeah, stacking my coin.
Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum.
Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live. Okay.
This episode is brought to you by XBO. XBO is a new cryptocurrency exchange that is looking for its official representatives. That's right, if you own a Bored Ape or know someone who does, you don't want to miss this opportunity. XBO.com is currently holding an audition to find its own Bored Ape and is paying top dollar for the rights to the digital collectible. The owner of the selected Bored Ape will receive $100,000 in exchange for it being the official mascot for XBO. Even if you don't own a Bored Ape, register now because the first 10,000 registrants will get the gold tier trading rewards and the chance to win lifetime Black Diamond rewards. Visit XBO.com for more details on this opportunity. Link in the description below.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, man, I think I used all my ammo. on that intro. I'm out.
All of it.
I need a reload. I need a reload.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. This guy's got the pallet load of ammo back in the bunker.
No, that's you. That's you. That's you, Seth. You the one doing the builds. You got your little custom builds going on. You know what I'm saying? It's you.
Man, it's a pleasure getting these two fellas on tonight, this evening, this morning, wherever you are on this beautiful green blue earth. How you guys doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. We both looked at each other like, who's going? Man, I'm doing great. It's a Sunday afternoon. I've been doing some chilling. We'll probably get into this with the privacy stuff that we're going to talk about. I've been doing some house cleaning today, moving some stuff over to hardware wallets, and got some headaches we're probably definitely going to get into, but we'll get into that later. But other than that, doing great. What about you, Seth?
Yeah, no, same. Can't complain. I mean, it's been a great day for me. We're looking forward to that last episode of The Anarchists to hit HBO Max. I mean, shout out to the filmmakers there. I don't know Jeff Berwick directly, personally, but indirectly. We're all like only a degree or two of separation away from each other in this space, right? So, like, we all know somebody who knows somebody or who's lived in an Acapulco or who goes to an Acapulco. So I'm looking forward to see how they treat that whole situation there in episode 6. So that's happening tonight, and we hoped it would come out earlier in the day so we could kind of fit that in before we live stream. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff Berwick. I mean, he used one of my live streams on his channel many years ago. I did, I think at the Bitcoin, North American Bitcoin conference, maybe about in 2018 or 17. Yeah. Haven't watched him in a while. Is he still on YouTube?
No, he's not on YouTube. Dollar Vigilante as a brand has totally had to go indie publishing. But I mean, this is, we're going to get into it tonight. I think with some of the difficulties of decentralization versus compliance versus unjust compliance to unjust rules and regulations, compliance to unjust laws, and whether or not there's a moral obligation that goes beyond the ethical obligation of following unjust laws, right? So, but yeah, I think he's publishing separately now, and it's not the same brand that it once was. So shout out to the Dollar Vigilante.
They're going strong still. I see. That's good. I haven't seen them on YouTube in a while. I thought they may not have been doing, or you never know, these algos, man, they really filter your subscriptions and stuff. So my man, Crypto Debate OG Keeper, man, tell us about what you got going on, man.
Man, we've been working hard on. So this is our personal Twitter we got here. We've also got Danger Close Alpha, but Danger Close Alpha is what we're working on. That's the big thing we got going on. Basically, we're bringing the prepper community together with the crypto and NFT community. We've got an artist from DC Comics that's just super dope. We did a free mint that was actually top 45 on Opensea for utilities for the first week in terms of volume. So that was super dope. And then on August 26th, we've got the next drop happening, and that is only a 500-piece drop. It's going to disappear right away. We're pretty positive of that. It's a bug out drop. You get a 3-day prepper boot camp in real life. You get a party with myself and Crusader and some of the other people that are going to be there as well. Some of the other influencers, if you will, and we've got our own private area, and over 100 classes taught by professionals, the best in the biz. So we're super excited about that.
That's what's up. I love that. Very unique take on the NFT drops. Definitely something different, more meaningful. I love it, man. Mind your biz. What's going on with you, bro?
Well, first off, I'm looking forward to everything that Debate Crypto is doing. I'm looking forward to the DCA, the whole rollout of their NFT, the DCA, the Danger Close Alpha. Sorry, I almost got it mixed up with another DCA, right? But Danger Close Alpha, what they're doing with the entire ecosystem, right? Like, well, that's the tough thing about having DCA be the the acronym. But I'm looking so forward to it, right? Like what they're talking about by way of that. I mean, talk about utility. I don't think you get a higher utility than teaching people how to level up their ability to take care of themselves. That's like the like winning at life skill level utility.
Don't know why we haven't seen this yet. This is great though.
Well, I'm glad to be the first. I'll tell you what. Thanks, Seth. That means a lot. I appreciate you guys for that, for real.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, props. And you know that it's gonna nothing but love from the Mind Your Biz community for what you guys are doing there. So gonna keep on chatting from the rooftops until you guys get this thing done. But what I'm working on right now is I do have the secondary channel. All you have to do is go to sub.myb.lol. It's right there. See, the link is right there in the description. It'll bring you to the secondary channel, which we are building up into our primary. So we are changing homes. This is all fresh content.
Oh,
We're replaying a couple of things.
That looks like me right there.
That good looking fella there.
Oh, look at that attractive black man there.
Who could that be? I don't know. Red background, green gamer chair. No, that's an IKEA chair.
IKEA chair.
Green IKEA chair, man. Nobody does it like Blood does it, right? The best in the business, one and only, right? He broke the friggin' mold. So yeah, but that's the new channel, building that up. In part, that is a place for the whole fam, right? So we're trying to bring everybody. I tweeted it out on Twitter today, right? Long-term games with long-term people. You see them right here, right on the live stream tonight. But it's meant to be a rising tide for everybody that I've worked with over the last, 4 or 5 years in the crypto space. So just it's a bit of a Hail Mary. It's a bit of a dangerous thing. It's got some risk associated with it, but yeah, we're trying to switch homes for the Mind Your Biz channel, and we did so through strategic acquisition, so to speak. Right? It was strategically acquired.
I thought that was smooth, man. I thought that was smooth.
Yeah,
of course, please smash those like booties right now. Get them up, people. We got 24 people in the building right now. And for me, got to do my,
need the back in there.
Yeah, I got to do my little promo. We got Bloodalytics. Now, you need to go sign up just for the name. Bloodalytics.
Yeah, I like the name, no doubt.
Bloodalytics is going live tomorrow. You can sign up, pre-order today, 30% off if you do. This is going to definitely, even if you're not an active trader, you need this. This is going to give you the edge you need to figure out when you want to dollar cost average in or sell out. This will give you that. I just launched this website as well, cryptoblood.io, but you got about 1 day and 2 hours left to save 30% on the Bloodalytics signal.
I'm excited. We're gonna be using it, and we will be sharing it out on. We'll be sharing it out to our people, let you know how it's doing. So listen, there's some pressure attached to that Blood, so it's got to do well. Because guess what? We're sharing. We just shared nothing but the truth. So it better be.
Yes, sir.
It better be getting
it's going to be getting it. I don't put anything out unless it is solid and ready to go. So yes,
I like it.
Mind Your Biz will be in there. I'm gonna get Seth in there. Not Seth, but my man Nick in there, and we're gonna have some fun and make some money for sure. So definitely check that out. And let's take a look at the technicals really quickly. Like, how do you guys feel about the markets right now? Because we're currently kind of in a, I don't know, man. It's iffy. It's kind of neutral. I'm really confused about where we're going, because seems like we want to go up higher, but yet we still come back down a little bit. But we're above that trend line, and I have the pennant. How do you guys feel about that? I'll start with you, Crypto Keeper.
Man, I just feel with my, and this is just a total feeling, right? They tell you not to invest with your feelings, but I'm just throwing out there. I feel with everything in me that we still have lower to go, that we still, with the macroeconomic factors in the world that we live in today, that we are going to get another, and I want to call it correctly, another opportunity at some really low prices. And I think that if we can change our mindset to be not that, oh, my portfolio's down, no. You have another opportunity to step in and maybe bring that average down depending on where you got in. I think that we're still going to get that opportunity. However, right now, I think is a really good time for some of these institutions to play with some of our confusion. I know we're going to talk about it later, but with the ETH merge coming in, there's that question like, hey, is this pump, that happening and we're going to see all of it and then we're going to tank back down? Or do we still have a lot farther to go? And I know that's one of the topics, but I think that's an opportunity for some of these market makers to play some games. And I will tell you, if you're 50x, 100x leverage out there, I'm going to tell you, a lot of times play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So just find out.
Be careful. Definitely a liquidation stop outs everywhere, left and right. So be careful. I would keep my leverage at 20 to 30 max.
Even that's aggressive. I like it, though. Let's go.
So Mind Your Biz. What we got here?
So I'm sharing the chopsticks. This is the little channel that we've had over on Mind Your Biz for a while. Notice I'm not even using the full version of TradingView. I literally just use like the free tools. I get about as fancy as the MACD. I keep it at the 1-day chart, and then we try to look for when there are convergence events, and we look at that histogram right on the MACD, and then we just sort of do macro, right? We zoom out, we pay attention to the news, we try to look at other markets, try to figure out if there are other factors that could affect things. I fully expected we would continue to see a bit of a trend marching steadily down towards 14K to maybe 12.5K. And we got this totally broken, right? Now we're in this channel, but this to me, Blood, it looks manipulated just from the 1 day. I'm not gonna like, I don't have the wherewithal to be analyzing the 1 week chart versus, screw the 5 minute. Like I can't live like that. I just don't have the tools, right? Like I'm not that guy. But with the 1 day chart, what I see is these really weird, like 2-day green wicks, and then it just bleeds out. 2 days of green wicks or green candles, bleeds back out. And now that pattern's starting to break up a little bit. And I still think, no, like the market, it's just like the rest of the economic markets, right? What we're seeing with CPI and stuff. We just need to see a proper bloodletting, let the bubble friggin' pop, let things just like get down to their worst so they can start to recover. And I really do think that with the Bitcoin market in particular, this chart, we're going to see that 12.5 to 14K. We're going to see like the bare cost to produce Bitcoin become the price that it trends at for a short time. And then we can rebuild, right? Then we can recover. But I don't think we're going to see that full recovery. And we're sure as hell are not going to see $100,000 Bitcoin until we see that 12 to 14K Bitcoin first. But that's just, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, cool. Great analysis, definitely. And I just dropped a link to a free public version of my algo or trend alerts for Ethereum. So go check it out in the chat room. It gives you kind of the trades from the previous day. So if you just want to kind of get a feel for what has been going on as far as our trades for the last couple of weeks, you'll be able to see that there. Now we are currently, if I take a look at Bitcoin, actually, yeah, we can take a look at Bitcoin, but more so I want to take a look at Ethereum because, of course, that moves faster. We went short. It was about an hour and a half ago. So we're in the money right now. And on Ethereum, we took 50% of our profits. So
Blood, just real quick, not to cut you off, but just so that I understand the indicator as it looks, when you have that pulled up, if you can pull that back up, the red dotted line is where you are saying, hey, we're going short here. Is that what I'm looking at? Boom, so we're going short here or what?
The red arrow is where we went short. The red dotted line is if you were to place a stop loss position.
Oh, you're putting your stop loss position. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So if you want to add that into your strategy, which I would have something around there, I wouldn't go in and neck it. So, yeah, those are your green and your red dots are your stop losses. Okay. The green and red arrows are, where we would get into the position. So we did take some profit on that short on Ethereum. So doing well. So
are you telling people, are you telling people, hey, good positions to take profit and whatnot as well? Or
yes.
Nice. See, that's the thing right there, man. When as from somebody that's been in this for a long time, but not a super experienced trader, what I always end up doing wrong, and I feel like I get overzealous. I'm either a little bit too greedy or a little too quick to pull just because I don't have a full-on fundamental understanding of, hey, what I should always be doing on a smaller time frame. And so I think that if you can show people that is working, man, I'm here for it because that's literally what I screw up on. So I love
doing it, man. And we give you indicators on when I'm giving you. I built this. I'm giving you the take profit levels for you because you want to take some off the table. You never know when these markets are very volatile. So you'll be up in the money, and then next thing you know, you go to sleep or you're out with the kids or wife or whatever, and then you turn around and now you're down. So we have, I've put these take profit points in here so that you guys can take and lock in those gains, and you don't have to worry so much about what happens after that. But enough of shilling about Bloodalytics. Let's get into it, man. I want to talk to you guys about this alien here. Vitalik Buterin.
He's a heck of a good-looking guy, I got to tell you.
Yeah. Tell me you visited Earth sometime 3000 BC to build the pyramids without saying those words. Yeah,
Come
look like
on,
that guy.
Man, that guy is definitely from the future.
Somewhere.
Yeah, smart guy for sure. But he's saying, guys, that he basically expects the merge that the merge, Ethereum merge, is not priced in yet. I was pretty shocked that he feels this way. Finally, we have a date, September 15th.
Let's go.
Now we gotta hold it. Now we gotta hold him to it, fellas. First, before we get into the, if Ethereum is priced in with this merge or not, will you explain, Seth, kind of what is going on with this merge? You got the beacon chain / consensus layer, and then we got the, prior or existing chain. Kind of just give people an update on what's going on and what's going to happen.
Yeah, sure. So for people who don't know, the beacon chain right now is a proof of stake, sort of proof of concept, essentially, but it's a proof of stake chain that exists right now. People have been able to stake using their ETH2 tokens, or essentially stake their Ethereum to the beacon chain right now. There have been some problems with some of the staking platforms on that chain so far, but they have nothing to do with the Ethereum beacon chain itself. So proof of stake on Ethereum has already existed in this form for many months now. And the beacon chain merge is going to be this future date at which that will become the main Ethereum chain. The only Ethereum chain that we ever interact with on a regular day-to-day basis will be that proof of stake chain that's technically already in production right now. But it's in production as really more of you could call it like a closed beta, or I guess open beta is a better way of putting it. Well, September 15th, the reason that Vitalik is saying that with such high confidence is because there are now a specific number of hashes, a specific number of blocks that have been defined before they make that merge live. So while they may not be able to tell you the exact second or minute or maybe even hour, there could be some variance in approximately when that plays out to, they can tell you with pretty high confidence that the number of hashes left and the number of blocks that they will write before it goes live should pan out to be September 15th, or 16th, sometime that day. It should just go live. So,
right.
So yeah, I mean, the writing is definitely on the wall. I mean, sad day for miners, but at the same time, we know what to expect at least, so you can plan around it. Whatever your business model is, you can plan around that day being the day.
All right. Have you, Crypto Keeper, prepared for this? Have you bought your 32 ETH? Are you really involved in this whole merge thing, or not really?
I mean, I don't usually dive too deep into crazy specifics of my portfolio, but I've been well past 32 ETH for a while, so I'm here for it, right? Mm-hmm. I am ETH bull all the way. Okay. The vast majority of my profile is in ETH. I do think that this happening, he's talking about it not being priced in. I think it's going to be hard. So I understand the idea of a pump happening right now, but I think it's going to be hard, even with all the mathematical capability in the world. I think it's going to be hard to price it in. And I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. First thing is when all of a sudden, and Seth can speak on this better than I can because he truly understands the mining side of things. But when we move from proof of work to proof of stake, all of a sudden this massive amount of ETH that has been being produced, all of a sudden that stops effectively, right? And so when that happens,
about a 90% reduction in the supply overall, right, Seth?
Yeah, triple halvening is what they're calling it. Essentially, it's just it's whatever. It's going to be 1/8 of what it was previously before, right? So yeah, I mean, not quite 90%, pretty close to 90% reduction in the amount of coins emitted per block, but it's not going away per se,
right?
Yeah, it's just that at this point they're talking about with that reduction of block reward every 12 to 14-ish seconds, 12 to 15-ish seconds every time a block is produced on Ethereum, which is again it's not a metronome. It's not that's why they're saying September 15th. They're not saying September 15th at exactly this time, right, on the nuclear clock, right, GMT or whatever. It's not a perfect timekeeping system, but every 12 to 15 seconds when a new block is produced, so many ETH are emitted right now to pay miners. And in addition to that, they've got this thing called MEV, which is not, as people call it, miner extracted value. It's actually maximal extracted value. Shout out to the homie Alex, the good guy biker from Canada, because he's been running flash bots to extract the value from that little system, because it's been a vector for pulling value from Ethereum's block rewards every 12 to 15 seconds, regardless of whether you're a miner or not. Most people don't know that. There are so many exploits. There's huge inefficiency in Ethereum right now, and that inefficiency does not go away when we have the beacon chain merge going to proof of stake. So we think it's going to go deflationary. We can't know, like Nick is saying too, we can't know for sure how to price in some of this stuff because there are so many variables, including these flash bots that can come in and they can still arb the crap out of each block that's being produced and pull tons of value out by creating like not empty blocks at this point. ETH is well past that point, but so many little like false indicators of value that needs to be pulled from each block, or value that needs to move from this place to the other. Gas fees that are for lack of a better word, kind of fake because there are bots that are creating fake conditions for them. So it's really hard to know whether or not Ethereum will truly go deflationary in the same way that EIP 1559, the miners, we sound the alarm. We sounded the alarm back then when people said EIP 1559 is going to make it deflationary. It didn't. And we told everybody it wouldn't. And so now the beacon chain merge, people thinking it's going to go deflationary. I'm here to tell you, like like Nick is saying, we just don't know. We just don't. I'm agreeing with you that we just don't know how deflationary it will actually be once we get there. And we've got a few days in, or maybe a few weeks in, or a few months in. Then we can start saying things like, oh, this is amazing. The triple halvening is, it's turning Ethereum into sound money, and it's actually, deflationary, and it's becoming more scarce. Forget that.
We'll quick, find out. Shout out to Lisa. She's getting ready to get out of here, but wanted to shout her out. So I saw she was in the chat.
Litecoin Lisa in the house. Come visit us in Vegas. We'll have a little party for your birthday. Make sure to come out, Lisa.
Yeah, shout out to her. I kind of cut you off, Nick.
No, you're
what
good.
else were you saying about Ethereum?
You're good. So I absolutely, I said, hey, Seth, you can speak on this better because he does a better job of expressing what I would have chopped through.
Speaks so eloquently,
just an eloquent response. God, man, I got to tell you, heck of an individual. But yeah, the problem with it being so exactly like Seth was just saying, but I think there's more to it than that as well. I think that these institutions, these market makers, like to play games with the market as a whole. And so I think there's an opportunity coming up where there's a big question mark. And I think they are going to be watching these order books to the nth degree, because as we get close to that point, they do have the ability. You are effectively loaning money from these market makers, and they can watch that leverage, and they know where they're going to get smoked and where they're not, and basically how to offset some of that. And so I think you have a huge event that's happening, a ton of people with eyes on it, and at the same time, a basically mathematically impossible calculation to be made. And so I think the big variable is just that it's a huge variable. But simple supply and demand says that the ETH price long term. Now, again, I'm not talking about the next 4 weeks. Long term, simple supply and demand says that if it does what it says it's going to do, which it's going to do it overall, we've got a lot of price appreciation coming. Because think about if over the last 2 years, 80% or 90% or whatever that number is, less ETH was there, the numbers would be exponentially higher. So just I'd be paying attention. It's gonna be wild. I'm hoping it. Hey, listen, I'm hoping it's not priced in, and I'm hoping we go to the moon, baby, because I got some ETH with. I'm gonna take the opposite stance. My trader gut feeling is telling me this happens every single time. Oh, we're gonna dump.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna
short
dump.
term, yeah.
Short term, we're gonna dump.
I think, ladies, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but it is the classic: buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yep.
The markets like to bid up to an event, and once the event is over, it's like I have nothing else to look forward to, so I'm gonna sell off.
I agree.
So I think personally, we're gonna see September 15th, 16th, somewhere around there. Like Seth said, we're gonna see a pullback. So if you are an active trader, you actively manage your portfolio, you might want to look into scaling out up to that date. But hey, we'll see what happens there. We got Brain Shambles in the building. That's my
celebrity in the chat.
Celebrity in the chat.
What's up?
Ghetto Crypto said, good people, blessings to everyone staying focused in these times. Absolutely. So I want to talk to you guys about, still on the topic of Ethereum. We have the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. And in that transition, you still have people, because this is a capitalistic, when we're just seeing, market forces work without any, I don't know what you want to call it, roadblocks by agencies or whatever. People are going to have their incentives aligned. And we see these miners have been making money, millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for many years mining Ethereum. So we have a fork that is coming up. It is trading on. Shout out to everyone. I actually highlighted this because I know my man Seth remembers Polonex days back in the ICO years, where you would have IOUs for coins that didn't even exist yet, but you could trade them. Well, we have an IOU for the ETH W, they're calling it. I thought it was called ETH PoW, but I guess the actual ticker is ETH W. This is the token that is going to be representing the continued proof of work coin. It lost over 56% of its value in the last 6 days. What's your take on this, Seth? Is this an indication that that's not going to gain a lot of steam going forward?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that Chainlink and a few other major projects, they went out of their way. I think Circle also made the announcement just saying, yeah, anybody who's trying to fork away from the main Ethereum chain, we won't support. End of story. When you get Circle saying that they're going to pull support from USDC on your chain, and you get Chainlink saying, yeah, Oracle services, they're decentralized, so you can try to tap into them, but we're not going to expressly offer our help to you.
Kills it,
You're
right?
Dead in the water. That's it. They absolutely became tastemakers, or I guess they already are kind of kingmakers when it comes to chains. So when they're saying we're going to go with this proof of stake beacon chain merge, you're done. The game is already over. You just don't know it yet. What I love, Blood, you shared this with us. I love Ethereum Classic.
Yeah.
This tweet right here.
Yeah,
I love that they just took them down a peg. Guys, calm down. Even Ethereum is a fork. Even Ethereum is not the true Ethereum chain.
Right. Yeah, that's dope, man. I love. That's why I wanted to highlight that. You took it right out my mouth, man. That is very interesting. So you don't think it's going to really get any legs here? What about yourself, Crypto Keeper?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to. I think at the end of the day, there's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be people that want to try to push against the system. But I think that overall, there's so much momentum, so much steam behind what the main chain, if you will. Obviously, yeah, a fork of a fork and, whatever. But the reality is everybody is following ETH. I think the only reason the ETH Classic has ever done anything really at all has been because they freaking listed on Robinhood, and most of the people that are on Robinhood don't truly understand. They just see Ethereum and they're, oh, I'm buying now. It's the classic one. I got to get that. I genuinely think a lot of people just don't even know what it is that they're buying into. So yeah, I think there's too much momentum behind ETH, and that's really kind of where it sits for me. I don't see much else.
For sure. Karen asks, so if you have 32 ETH, what can you do with it? Well, you can run your own node if you would like. That's for starters. Is there anything else you can do with 32 ETH other than that? You can also stake it on a pool, right? You don't have to, if you don't want to take on that responsibility of running your own node with the 32 ETH, because you are penalized if you screw up. Am I correct, Seth? Kind of explain that really quickly.
I was going to go the other way with that. Sorry, okay. Blood, but hate to be the bearer of bad news. The pools have been the biggest source of theft and loss so far on the beacon chain. So I would be concerned about that, right? Danger, Will Robinson. If you're going to do this, check all your options. Make sure that they have a flawless track record. Make sure that it is a group that either you can be made whole if they experience loss, or they have such an incredible, impeccable track record in terms of the tech side that there's very little chance for loss. But I'd be very cautious about pools right now because tens of millions have been lost by investors who just, they only had a few ETH lying around and they went into a pool and they got wrecked because the pool got robbed. So yeah, I'd say be very cautious with that. It's like back in the day when you wanted OTC ETH, what did you have to do? Go make friends with a miner. I would say right now, moving toward the merge, if you want to run your own node and if you're a validator and you've already got the 32 ETH, go make friends with a miner, and specifically one that has experience running master nodes or running validator systems, because the miners of 2022 are going to be the validator operators of 2023. Mark my words. because they're the gearheads that like messing with this hardware. So that's my strongest advice to anybody in the audience is go be friends with a miner. They're not going to go anywhere.
No, that's good advice. That's good advice. We're going to get Corey. I saw your question about Celsius token. We're going to talk about that shortly. So stay tuned for sure. And again, don't forget to smash those like booties, please. We got 48 people in the building right now. Let's get that number up. Let's show the algo some love. So I want to go on to this was the site for Ethereum PoW or proof of work. If you guys were interested in it, you can check it out at ethereumpow.org. I have to agree with you guys on this one. I don't think it's going to get too far. You know, it'll be around, but I just don't see it having any more legs than Ethereum Classic, to be honest with you. So it's a gamble, and I'm staying away from it for sure. It just is what it is. Too much momentum behind the Ethereum Foundation. The next article I got to talk to you guys about, which is a big one. I know you guys are going to have a lot of Satoshis on this subject. Tornado Cash blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury. Oh, my God. This is crazy. Seth actually did a wonderful Twitter Spaces with Cointelegraph, right? They hosted a Twitter Spaces, and you were on there talking. I'm like, look at my guy up there doing his thing.
Right.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Tell us about the situation we have on hand and what does this mean for the crypto space? I think a lot of people aren't really taking in and digesting what this means. It's a pivotal, very watershed moment in the crypto industry, in my opinion, that I think the ramifications still haven't been seen.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not. Before I was on that Twitter space, shout out to the Cointelegraph Socials team. They know who they are, but thanks for inviting me on to that. They are a lot of them are kind of like behind the scenes folks, but really appreciate being given the opportunity to be highlighted on Cointelegraph Twitter Spaces. Apparently, it won't be the last. We'll be doing some more together. But a little bit of background here for the audience, because we've got to have that eternal beginner's mindset, right? There's always something new to learn in crypto. With Tornado Cash, if you're not familiar with how it works or worked, because if you're in the United States or Canada, you're probably not going to use it now, right? But to begin with, Tornado Cash is not technically a mixing service, right? So even CoinDesk's framing of this article is wrong.
Right.
It uses the wrong
please
language.
Explain that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's
so
why it's
mixing
such
services,
a danger to the governments.
Yeah, absolutely. But Tornado Cash is technically a decentralized protocol that's run by smart contracts. Mm-hmm. So it's really not any different from, say, Ethereum itself or a decentralized system like Bitcoin itself. It's already self-sustaining. It doesn't require anybody to stand in as a middleman. There are no centralized figures who are personally responsible for your funds or who are administering in any meaningful way your funds. So they're not a mixing service. They created a series of scripts and of smart contracts that will lock your Ether, your USDC, your USDT, your DAI, and your WBTC, your wrapped Bitcoin, into a smart contract that uses the same privacy technology that Zcash uses, right? So Ed Snowden's favorite privacy coin, Zcash, same technology, but it's applied to all of these ticker symbols on Ethereum. And then you can decide later on, okay, I want to pull this from that smart contract, or you can hand that sort of retrieval note, we'll call it, to somebody else to pull those funds from that smart contract. And when those funds are pulled from the smart contract, the link to its former wallet is totally severed through cryptography, not through mixing technically. It's actually done through cryptography. So your coins never touch anybody else's coins ever. There's no possibility when using Tornado Cash for your coins to touch, say, like a drug dealer's coins or a North Korean hacker's coins or anybody nefarious, anybody else's coins. They're always still just your coins. And if you hold on to all of the receipts for all those steps, you can technically still be compliant with every three-letter organization in the United States. You don't technically break any current laws by using that service, or you didn't at that point. The only reason you would be now is because Tornado Cash has been placed on this list by the U.S. Treasury's. They've got a subdivision called OFAC, right? Mm-hmm. And I forget what the.
And that's what people said when they heard about it. OFAC. OFAC.
Right.
Yeah, it's well named, right? Like they got that one thing right, but they got one thing really wrong, and that is putting Tornado Cash on this list. They even have a custom list of like things that aren't people, the entities, right? Sort of.
Right. That's the concerning part with me. This is the first time we're seeing actual software be illegal to use in a decentralized fashion like this. Man.
I mean, code is free speech, right? So this is
what we thought.
Well, so exactly. Well, code should be. Let me change that. Code should be free speech. And so what's happened here is someone has gone in and wrote a software program. Now, you cannot listen. People are going to launder money. No matter how you deliver money to people, they're going to figure out a way to launder it. Okay. You've got criminals. They're going to do criminal things. Doesn't matter what it is. The idea behind this is about as crazy as I think it's in the House or the Senate right now, where the arms manufacturers could be held liable for someone murdering someone else. That is the most crazy thing I've ever heard. That literally is saying, hey, if you manufacture forks, knives, and spoons, you will be held liable when people have heart attacks from eating too much food. And I know that's such a crazy comparison, but it's exactly the same
parallel
thing. Like
can be drawn on all things.
Hey, listen, alcohol,
at this point.
Alcohol, did somebody die in a DUI?
The people that make the engines in semi trucks, right? Are they going to be held liable for all the narcotics that come across the border? Because they like this is basically what they're saying. So
where does it stop? And that's the scary part. Where does this stop? And we are in a time and place in the world right now where nobody can have their little feelings hurt. Everybody has to get, their say. They're weaponizing the Justice Department right now, and we're seeing it in a whole. We'll talk about that even more later. Yeah, we're seeing it in a whole bunch of different areas, and the scary part is they're weaponizing the banking system right now because what are they realizing? They're realizing that, oh my gosh, people really could theoretically, what we talk about all the time, be your own bank. As I was transferring assets to hardware wallets earlier today, all of a sudden I had to do all of this extra KYC stuff that I had already done and do a live like facial scan to KYC to a freaking to a wallet. That's insanity. Why are they doing that? They're doing it for two reasons. One, to make it so incredibly frustrating and difficult that you just give up and you leave your assets on exchanges because they want to be the bank. If we're moving to crypto, then Coinbase is going to be your bank or whatever the exchange is. They still want to be in charge and hold your funds. Or if that's not the case, then they definitely for sure need to be able to track every last little bit so that they can get their grimy little hands on every last tax dollar that they can. It's scary, man. I don't know where we're headed, but I do know that right now with how things look, I know this is going to sound wild, but like we're headed towards being a communist freaking state, or at least totalitarian. Like it's getting flat out freaking scary.
Yeah, we're there. So I just want to highlight kind of and show you guys how they're painting the narrative of Tornado Cash. So they're saying Tornado Cash has been the go-to mixer for cyber criminals looking to launder the proceeds of crime.
So is Cash. That's not wrong, though. That's not wrong.
Wait, but here's the thing. No, it's not wrong. However, if you take a look at the percentage of illicit funds that they've calculated, let me just go through this really quickly. So they essentially said that about $1.5 billion of those funds were illegally obtained. So they're saying that was the laundered amount. Tornado Cash altogether has mixed, if you want to call it, just for lack of better words, 7.6 billion. So we're talking about 88% roughly of the funds were not used for illicit activities or laundered money. So this just shows you what they're doing here. They don't care, ladies and gentlemen. This battle is just getting started. They drew the line in the sand. Seth, what do you have to say?
Blood, you already know, man. The track record speaks for itself. At Mind Your Biz, I've been interviewing privacy-oriented developers for over 2 years. Interviewed the Zcoin team. Reached out to the Zcash team. Didn't get any comment directly from from the main heads of that project. Interviewed the CEL Cash team at the time, which rebranded to something else. This Monero developers. I've talked to them, done interviews in person. Everybody that has an interest in privacy over the last several years, I've been trying to drill down to that point. How do we overcome when we get to the final boss? We're getting so close to that final boss fight. It's scary, right? Like, and we know that it's going to become a lot more intense as we get closer and closer to abusive policies becoming law, becoming the becoming the iron fist that we all live under, like you're saying. But it does start with the ability to just say, hey, I want to keep a secret. Like, I want to keep something secret. I want to send an encrypted note to my buddy Nick. I want to be able to use like Signal or something else like that. Whatever. I want to tell him a stupid dad joke privately instead of on Twitter. Right. And I don't care. I don't want you guys to know. That's all there is to it. I want to be able to write a note in pencil and let somebody else burn it.
I can't see how a Signal won't be banned next. I can't see how a Telegram won't be banned next. This is so broad. I just see everything else falling in line. I mean, help me out, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? The whole thing is if we set a precedent where this code, this open source code can be criminal, there's no stopping where that can go. And it's so ambiguous what they don't actually present what they're after. They just throw out these buzzwords with talking about, money laundering and North Korean hackers and all these big scary things, right? Well, guess what? The US dollar is the most laundered financial asset, if you will, in the world, and it is incredibly more private than anything that we're doing on the freaking blockchain. People used to think like, oh yeah, because they didn't understand crypto, like, oh, Bitcoin's all private and you can do all of that. That used to be a narrative. Now people realize, hey, wait a minute, most all of this is actually public and is able to be seen on the blockchain. Trust but verify. You can't verify whether I walk over to Seth's house and hand him $10,000 in cash unless you had those $10,000 marked. You know what I mean? You knew the serial numbers on the bills. Other than that, that transaction never happened. So are we talking about cash though? No. Why not? Because the US government, aka the Fed, who you could argue that they work for the government, which they do, but whatever. At any event, they are able to turn on the money printer and then raise interest rates, and turn on the money printer and raise interest rates. And guess what? If you could go to the store, if you were going to buy a car today, and right before you leave, hey, honey, turn on the printer real quick before we go. How valuable would the freaking anything be? And that's what's happened. But guess what? They're not the ones that are producing and creating Bitcoin. They're not the ones that are producing and creating ETH. The people and these protocols are, and they're freaking scared.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about where we are, Seth. And, the thing about where we are today, I have to slightly blame ourselves, because what I saw a lot, Seth, in 2017, when you start to see commercial money, come into the space, I saw a lot of compromising. I saw a lot of people welcoming the regulators, the various agencies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, come in. We want this regulation so we can adopt and have a broader user base.
For price appreciation. That's all it was. It's like, hey, get this price through the moon, baby.
Price appreciation over privacy.
Yep.
It's tough also. Yeah, sorry. Just a brief interruption. It's tough also because you have these traditional models of investing. I mean, like if you want to have crypto in an IRA, not a lot of ways for you to do that. If you want to assign it to an IRA and legally you want to have that paper trail, not a lot of ways for you to do that. Unfortunately, you do have to have ETFs. You do have to have trusts. So, like, if you want to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, right? Do the full compliance route, then you gotta go the whole way. Like, you have to accept all of it. Unfortunately, Bitcoin is an extremely irreverent and extremely dangerous thing, and it started us down into kind of a dangerous path of dangerous freedom, where we would say, like, no, all this other stuff is going to be opt-in now if we're sovereign with our funds. Everything that's come since then is it was supposed to be an extension of that cypherpunk movement, saying, like, no, I'll be responsible for my own private keys. If I want to do encrypted communication, I'll hold my private keys I'll do that in a very careful way. And with a court order, sure, I'll show you the precise message that you tell me you want to see. Tell me the exact IP log of the email server that you want me to reveal the substance, the content of that message, and I'll show you that, because that's what due process looks like. That's what real police work, and that's what real investigative work from these three-letter organizations is supposed to look like. That's why we give them our tax dollars, is to put in the work to prove that people are guilty, because we should be innocent until that point. Yep. Right? Like it's supposed to have a due process. It's supposed to be really difficult. I'm not saying that things are better anywhere else, right? Like I'm very much a constitutionalist, very much American, very much for team red, white, and blue. But we kind of lost the plot there, right? With the whole like, nope, just drag nets. We're just gonna pay off Verizon. Here's $20. Give us this person's call logs. Okay. What? Yep. Nothing.
No legal,
we have
no legal.
Yeah.
Order and getting anything. Yeah, I agree with you. And you said one word that made me think about this: tax dollars. I think this is all about taxes and gaining tax revenue. Okay, this would, if you're using Tornado Cash, you technically could say, hey, I sent my coins to a wallet and lost them. I don't know where my funds are. You can't tax me on something that I don't have anymore. Essentially, Sort of that the
possibly, chain analysis
right?
Chain analysis will still show interaction with the Tornado Cash smart contracts, and now that they're blacklisted by the OFAC, right, the good old boys at OFAC, it will just show that that's where your funds went. So nobody in the right mind is going to do that from either an IP address or a VPN that's USA based or Canada based now. Either,
right? I guess, Seth, I'm saying prior to this sanction, like
you could obfuscate a transaction.
You can obfuscate a transaction and say, "Hey, I don't own those coins anymore. How can I be taxed on it if it's something?"
I mean, sure, but I mean that was kind of the common wisdom behind doing cash-based businesses in the United States as well. I mean, the recovering server when I was a young person in college, right? Waited tables, and if you got cash tips, it was not strictly speaking like anything that there's legal precedent to prove, but it was sort of generally understood that it's like if you report up to a certain level of income from tips, they'll say, okay, cool, that's good, that matches our expectations for somebody earning cash at a job like that. Yep. But it was kind of understood you kind of didn't really have to report any more than that. So that random hundo that was given to you that really great Friday night because you got the drinks just right and they loved you, like probably just yours to keep. Right, like tax-free, probably, but not advice. By the way,
I totally agree. You guys think the increased hiring of IRS agents? How many were there? Like 86,000. 87,000. Mm-hmm. Wow. Do you think it was all for crypto? Had to have been, right?
They also beefed up their armory.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about the people.
Yeah, I think it's more than that, though. I think that it's even more than both of those things. I think that the government has recognized that the U.S. dollar is in trouble. And the only way they're going to pull out of that is exactly what you were just saying, was tax dollars, right? Mm-hmm. However, people have now, and I'll use TikTok as an example. TikTok has educated people to understand that, hey, the reason that you can't tax the rich, I told someone this on a live stream today, the reason that tax the rich is a fallacy is because the rich don't truly have much income. We live in a debt. They're living off of, a lot of them are living off of debt. We live in a society based on velocity of money and debt. We are in a debt system. So the government and the tax laws, they encourage that debt, right? Well, once people are starting to learn and get hip to that, now a lot of people are recognizing, hey, wait a minute, I've got a way that I can get, start an LLC, run X, Y, and Z through the LLC. I can then claim, they're basically taking advantage of what is tax laws, right? And so what's happening is they're realizing we're in trouble. We're not going to be able to rein this back in. So what can they do? They can't just come out and seize your property you've got to be guilty of something. Well, most people, even with an accountant, even though the accountant holds a good piece of the responsibility, if they're a CPA, most people, one way or the other, I guess if you really dive deep into it, probably have made mistakes on their taxes. And guess who can seize your property? The freaking IRS. So they're going to start combing back through all of these different businesses, all of these different people's tax records, looking for things that were wrong. And they're going to say, hey, listen, you can pay us, or we're going to seize this. And I think they are manning, they are creating a small army of agents in that manner. And I think it is a scary proposition. Yes, literally
tax
an army.
Agents or IRS agents,
yep,
ladies and gentlemen.
And they can
so this
seize
is why it's
your
so
property
important.
At that point.
The whole, constitutional, Second Amendment, it ain't for me to protect my home. It's for me to protect myself from rogue governments.
Yep.
Okay. And I don't know.
Are we about to do Are we about to do the we all get put on a watch list stream? Is that what we're doing here?
Listen, I'm already on one. I'm sure.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, wake up, read between the lines. Read between the lines, please. Yeah. So just to sum up this segment, what does this mean for crypto? Is it going to be that panacea, that thing that's going to fix everything? Back in the day it was like, oh, this is going to eliminate us from the bankers, and I think those days are over, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know, Seth, you're more in tune with some of these privacy coins, but I'm concerned about that, because the thing about privacy coins, Seth, and help me out and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not about being private or encrypted today. Is if it can be encrypted perpetually forever, because the day it's cracked, they retroactively can go back and see everything. So that's always been my concern with privacy coins. Help me out with this.
Yeah, no, you're right. It depends on the something called the anonymity set of that privacy protocol, and that's why it's more than just encryption, right? These privacy coins rely on a lot more than just a single type of encryption. So you might be thinking of back in the day, we experienced the whole we saw the launch of DVD and then Blu-ray and HDV and all that stuff where they were like, oh, we released the keys. We released the private key for you to decrypt media, right, on DVD. And all of a sudden, you could have this little app running on your computer that would help you rip DVDs and make your own little, backup copy. But strictly speaking,
I've heard of people doing that
encryption, that decryption key, strictly speaking, getting it was illegal. Having your own backup copy, not illegal somehow, but getting the decryption key itself, illegal. With these cryptocurrencies, right, the privacy coins, it doesn't work quite the same way, where you get where it's it's reliant on one set of private keys that then decrypts the entire coin and the entire network, and then makes the entire transaction history, right, like totally clear text for a 3-letter organization. That's not quite how it works. Thankfully, right? They also have a number of transactions that, because you have, you're so many millions of transactions to sift through, it can make it that much more complex for an organization like the IRS to sift back through the history. It becomes such an onerous task for them, that it's this question of funding and time, right? The IRS, right? Hey, do you want to know the full transaction history of Monero? Well, how much time do you have? And how many quantum computers do you have on tap right now? So at some point in the future, there may be a technology that can fully de-anonymize a network like, say, Monero, but it would take so much more than just getting a hold of the decryption key. There isn't one master skeleton key that's going to unlock the back door to all of Monero, and all of a sudden, hey, I know what everybody's ever done on Monero. Thank goodness it doesn't look quite like that. But there will come a point at which in the future, everything that we think is secure now is, in the same way that we look at Web 1, right? And people look at Bitcoin, like you were saying, we look back at it and realize, it wasn't all as secure as we thought, but it served our needs at the time, right? Or the Enigma machine for World War II, served needs at the time. It's child's play today, but it won wars at that time. So right now, the battles that we're fighting right now, these privacy coins, they do a pretty good job right now, but for how long, we don't know. Not for sure. We don't know. That said, the on-ramps and off-ramps to get yourself something like Monero, which, by the way, has been kind of if you're looking at something that's pure privacy, always by default, there's nothing that does it better than Monero. That's also been my stance for years now. But the on-ramps and off-ramps are going to become increasingly policed, right? Where you're going to have those inquiries into any exchange that holds Monero, and you're going to have increased scrutiny on the accounts of people that aren't just casually trading it, right, to try to like scalp or whatever, but people who are trying to buy it and then off ramp it. You will be on a watch list. Your KYC info will be queried by authorities now because they want to know, like, what did you do with that privacy coin? So, like, that's the phase of the game we're entering in now, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah. I wanted everyone to go watch the interview that Amina Motala did on my channel with David Chom. Are you guys familiar with that gentleman? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It just CoinJoin. It used to be named after him. Chami and CoinJoin.
Yeah. He made some statements about, you know, encryption and Tor and all that is not as encrypted as we think it is. The government wants us to believe we got some encryption and privacy. And, you know, hey, I got to listen to a guy like the first guy to make a cryptocurrency or be involved in that. I'm listening to him. So I say all that to say it's kind of a segue, because how the hell does a Tornado Cash developer get arrested? Now, of all people, he should be able to cover his tracks. Come on now. What is going on? How are they keeping up with this guy? Was this guy public to begin with, or did they use some tools to find and track him down, Seth?
He developed in the open. He developed in the clear. Okay. He didn't think he had anything to worry about. I mean, like Nick was saying earlier, code is speech, but his speech was like, all right, well, these would be tools that you could use if you wanted to obfuscate your transactions. I'm not going to do it for you. So by most legal definitions around the world in developed nations, I'm not mixing anything for you. You're just using these tools. It'd be like if, you know, you're selling matte black paint, right? For people to like be able to paint their cars a stealth color, right? Or matte black, you know, vinyl wraps for people's cars, or like radar proof vinyl wraps for people to be able to evade police radars, right? Like you can sell that thing and not commit a crime when people use it.
It goes back to the point that Nick was making about these gun makers being, or I don't know if it was you, Seth, being liable for a murder now. It's the same parallel. You can draw that same analogy, which is insane. Nick, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I think that the whole crypto space has we're seeing it more and more is becoming a double-edged sword. It's this beautiful thing that allows us to do things like be our own bank, but at the same time, there's a reason that the government is pushing us towards digital. Now I believe that they're putting up a good fight right now, and I don't even know that it's a fight as much as it is jockeying for position to slow down the rate at which we are developing so that they can be in the right position, in the right place to handle things the way that they want to. But the reality is, they want us moving digital. Why do they want us moving digital? Because then they have the same thing we've been talking about. They have power, control, and taxation, and they have full on record of it. We will be a cashless society, right? And at the point that we are a cashless society, things are going to be, they're not, I mean, listen, you don't have privacy right now if you hold a smartphone. Like, let's just call it like it is. But that being said, we do still have some piece parts of privacy. The government wants to take all of that away because it does give them that power. And so I think that we're going to have a lot. I think it's going to kind of mess with some of the ingenuity and some of the, building on some of these networks, because people are going to be a little bit scared to do it. I think that if you start setting the precedent that, I mean, this dude went to jail. The Tornado Cash dude went to jail. And I think a lot of people that are, growing up in mom's basement writing code, not trying to be funny, but like, they don't know what jail's like and they don't want to find out what jail's like. And so what I'm saying is, you put enough fear into people, put enough confusion into people, put enough question marks into the society that is cryptocurrency, I think they can stifle some of the innovation. They can slow that process down, position themselves how they'd like, introduce the, here, we're the government, we're here to help. Here's the solution to all of your problems. Now let's move forward. And they essentially will introduce smart contracts at which they will be able to control effectively when we can spend it, how we can spend it, where we can spend it, how much time we're able to spend it, and they can keep that velocity of money turning. Once I became hip to how money really works, when I started really reading on some of that, when I read, for example, the Bitcoin Standard right here, once I started to recognize how money works, it's scary, because the whole thing, you'll hear people jump into lives and they're always like, crypto's a scam, get out, it's a Ponzi. Well, I mean, our entire world is built on a Ponzi scheme right now as we speak. We have deals for oil to be traded in our dollar for military. So we give military backing to Iran as long as they continue to produce oil for everybody, but they've got to use our dollar. Oh yeah, guess what? We get to print the dollars that they're having them use, and the tax dollars are it literally all is one big circle. The money keeps coming back in and coming back in.
BCHAD took it right out of my mouth. I literally was thinking this. This is the same situation as Ross Ulbricht.
Yep.
Where he wrote the code for Silk Road,
Yep.
had no dealings with what was going on there on the platform, and he's in jail for life.
Yep. Which is crazy.
These are the types of things that, and when people say they can't ban crypto, they can't stop crypto, let these fools start handing out life sentences for stuff as simple as this, and we'll see who's using crypto.
Yep.
So where do we go from here, Seth? I mean, I'm just very concerned.
So for my part, here's my plan. I'm going to go back through the archive. I'm going to be republishing all of the interviews that I did, the legacy interviews that I did with privacy coin developers, so that we can sift through what's already been said. We can sift through what's already been roadmapped for some of these privacy coins. And we can try to figure out, okay, what were their plans from a few years ago? And then I'm going to be interviewing them again. I think we have to go to some of these people. We've got to talk to them directly, because I mean, I talked to these folks, but I don't consider myself the expert in what they know and what their capabilities are and what they've been able to do. I, during those interviews, intend to ask them to start publishing canary lists. And a canary list, if you're not familiar with it, or canary page, is just a page on their projects admitting to when they've had any kind of an official inquiry from a government agency. They can publish that. Generally speaking, they can publish that. Some code projects do this when they're privacy oriented, but that would show good faith and help us figure out, okay, what are these three-letter agencies, and internationally with the law enforcement community, what are they trying to do? When have they asked for information? What kind of information have they asked for? What is their next play, right? What's their next move in this sort of chess game? Because we know we're getting close to the end game. We know we're getting close to checkmate. We were pretty close to putting them in checkmate, which is why they're starting to crew up, right, with the IRS agents, armed agents, and whatever else. But if we could get some of these privacy projects to admit to, like, when an official inquiry has come in and what the substance of that inquiry was, provided there are no legal entanglements or ramifications for doing that, then it helps inform us, and it helps us figure out, is there a safe haven protocol? Is there something that actually resembles digital cash, which is what Satoshi set out to create in the first place? Can we have something that is as fungible and as private as cash in a digital format? And if so, like, how? But I think we have to be as informed as possible. And I think it's going to have to come from those privacy developers themselves, just admitting, "Oh yeah, I got GQ'd, right? Golden questioned by this agency or by that agency. Here's what they asked. Here was our response. I'm going to publish that." Like,
so effectively,
abuse only happens in private. We got to get it out in the open.
So effectively, do the exact opposite of what their programs are written to do. So you're going to just be full on public about them trying to basically look into the privacy that your asset provides. I love it. It's just saying, hey, listen, you guys want to ask questions? We're going to let everybody know about the questions that you're asking, because that's what you want, right? And it's basically putting it right back in their lap and saying, hey, y'all want us to be public about everything? Let's be nice and public, and let's just go ahead and deliver all the information that you guys were asking for as well. Here you go. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, Nick, we talked about it over on Debate Crypto. We talked about how, like, nothing turns you into conspiracy theorist faster than seeing stuff that's been declassified, right? The government does some crazy shit, and they admit to it. If people just read some of the stuff the government openly admits to doing, you'd start wearing tinfoil under your hat too. Like, they do crazy things, but the abuse happens in private, right? Generally speaking, like, serious abuse happens in private, and so to allow that abuse to continue, people just have to stay quiet. Like, but these developers, I think, do need to be more open. And yeah, Canary List, or maybe there needs to be a maybe not GitHub, GitLab repository that just openly shows that, like, okay, these, and aggregates all of these canary lists from different privacy projects and different privacy coins. But we need to figure out, what are these government agencies asking when they first contact these projects? Because if that dude was arrested out of the blue, like, that's an obvious abuse. There had to have been some kind of initial outreach. They may have asked him to surrender himself, something. I'd like to know what that looks like. And very likely that can be published without any legal ramifications.
You never know from the news. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you going to answer that? I was going to answer that if you didn't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead if you want to answer. I mean, go ahead, Nick. You can answer that question.
Well, ultimately, as it look, you never know with the news. But as it looks, they were charging him with like you pulled it right up there. Concealing financial flows and facilitating money laundering. How is this man facilitating money laundering or concealing? No, he wrote a program that allows people to be private. Listen, I don't want everybody on this stream to know exactly how much. Listen, I'll tell you what, everybody in the chat right now, please put in the exact dollar amount that you have in each of your bank accounts. Please let me know what your monthly outflows look like and who those are going to. And we'll start, we'll just start living like that. People don't want to live like that. It doesn't mean you're money laundering. It doesn't mean you're selling drugs. It doesn't mean that you're extorting people. It just means, hey, I want a little bit of privacy in my life. I'm not giving out my cell phone number on the stream. It's the same type of idea, man.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, this is a very pivotal point in cryptos, ladies and gentlemen. We all want to make money. We want to be rich beyond our wildest dreams. We thought that was going to happen for most of us in 17. Didn't kind of pan out that way. But you can definitely still see where the battle is being had here, man. Its privacy is so critical, and they're scared of your privacy, ladies and gentlemen. That's where your power is. That's where your freedom is. And they're trying to take that away. They're definitely trying to take that away. Let's change topics here. Opensea changes stolen NFT policy following user outcry. I'm going to go to you, Nick, on this one. You're the NFT guy. What's your take on this? How do you feel about them changing their terms of service, essentially?
Yeah, if you dig into the article, it basically talks about how the way that it was set up is that if an NFT was flagged as being stolen, they would freeze it indefinitely. So let's say, Blood, you buy a Bored Ape. Let's use an expensive one. You buy a Bored Ape that was stolen. Now, it's on Opensea, so you are trusting that Opensea is selling you something that is legal, legit, nothing fishy with it. So you spend however many ETH you spend 1,000 ETH on this Bored Ape, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, by the way, that actually was stolen, we believe, so we're going to freeze that asset until we figure this out. Well, any sort of legal, stuff will take a long, long time, let alone stuff going on with crypto and new technology, whatever. So now what they're saying is basically within a week of it being basically flagged that it was stolen, if they don't put a
formal police report,
formal police report within a week, then they will unfreeze it. And I think that makes sense because, listen, you can't hold. If you're going to sell something on your site, then I believe that you are bearing some of the responsibility as the business owner, at least saying, hey, we will back up what we put down. With my construction business, I have a warranty on our labor, on our work. Why? Because we are providing a service for people that they expect a return on, a sort of set of returns. If you're going to sell these NFTs, then you've at least got to hold that same type of regard for your clients and not just, hitting things indefinitely. There's so many fake. We literally, with Danger Close Alpha, we were, what was it? Maybe a full day. We did a free mint and then it started trading, right? People started secondary buying, trading, buying, selling on the secondary. And maybe within a day, there was already a fake listing of our project. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not paying attention, it looks just like it. I'll tell you that I actually have bought one time. I bought from the wrong freaking project. I was actually buying one of Shambles Bulldogs. I wasn't paying attention. I was moving too fast, and I just clicked in, and I didn't actually go into the project. I just typed in anxious Bulldogs, blah, 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 move forward, and then guess what? I ended up buying a freaking screenshot on Opensea. Like it was such a rookie move, but it can happen so quick and so easily. So I do appreciate that they're at least looking out for people on the tail end and saying, hey, you can't hold people's funds up forever when they didn't actually do something wrong.
Seth, why don't we have, or why aren't people using a decentralized version of Opensea? Why isn't that popular? Why do we see continually in this space the popular services be the centralized ones? What am I missing here? Marketing
budgets. Excellent. It really does boil down to that. I mean, and that's why VCs have gotten so heavily involved into the crypto and blockchain scene over the last several years, right? The corporate state, so-called corporate state controlled crypto projects, they become popular because you had people who figured out how to promote a technology company. And I mean, this goes back, for as long as we've been alive. The tech wars, they go clear back to like the Sony Walkman days, where cassette tapes really the best possible portable audio technology. I'm sure 8-tracks were probably superior in some way. They probably had less compression in some way because it was a broader magnetic tape, right? So you don't always see a successor to a previous technology be the best technology. It's always the best marketed technology. Like Darwin, survival of the fittest, not the strongest, not the best, the most adaptable to change, right? And adapting to new market conditions requires marketing, right? You got to get your message out past whatever the current conditions are. Well, we got past Web 2.0. Facebook made it impossible to advertise crypto projects there. How did people get their projects announced and marketed? Well, they had to find other tracking pixels. They had to shill on Twitter. They had to go to large events where you had high net worth individuals in the audience, and you had to have people on stage who could really properly position your project in such a way that high net worth individuals in the audience would decide, oh, cool, I'm in, I want to buy, right? Or you've convinced me, this is the future, right? We'll call that the Charlie Lee and Charles Hoskinson effect, right? Where you've got these people who are able to position their projects, then regardless of the merit of the project, I'm not trying to take a cheap shot at Cardano or Litecoin right now. They've got their own roadmaps. They're doing their own thing, but some would say that Ethereum, it's got more going on than Cardano. It's got more in production than Cardano. Some would say that, like, whether or not it's superior, it's marketed better and it has more happening for it. So like when it comes back to Opensea was first to market. It's easy to use, and it is promoted heavily. It was promoted heavily. It was marketed heavily. So even though they've got customer service that's like garbage, good luck trying to find somebody to help you if you have a mint go wrong. Good luck just doing a collection of 500 in an automated way, being able to like bulk upload 500 pieces or point it at generative parts of your NFT to have it assist you in the assembly of a generative project. Like it doesn't do any of that crap.
I will say, just to toss in there, that they have the lazy minting function on there, and this is another reason why I think people are continuing to stick with Opensea, because it does work, right? It does what it's supposed to do. You have headaches, but it's convenience. It's saying, hey, I've got a place where I can go, I can get this done, I can get it done quickly, I know people are going to see it, and essentially it's being advertised for me, right? It's being pushed out for me. I can literally put in a search query into Opensea, and that's where everybody is going until somebody steps up to the plate. And I actually have a little info that I do know somebody is doing that. I'm not going to get into that, but until somebody steps up to the plate to step to Opensea, it's going to continue to be like that. They've been the top dog. They are, executing.
Is this new player that you're mentioning, are they more decentralized or?
It would still be a centralized entity. I almost think listen, I don't know. In Blood, you can tell me if you think differently. I think you would have a hard time doing what Opensea does in a decentralized manner, other than just writing the script. Miguel and I have talked about this. Other than just writing the script that basically sniffs out all the smart contracts and tossing them onto the platform. But once you're getting past that, I guess, why is someone going to spend all of this time putting all of this together without taking a small, even the most decentralized of protocols, somebody's making money because people are not spending money to then not have the ability to make. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
why
I
is
guess
somebody
it's
going to
more
put all,
so on
some
the
decentralization alpha?
Yeah, go for
Should
it.
I do it? Should I do it for the Crypto Blood community?
Do it.
yes,
I'm going to
sir.
drop this into our chat. So I just sent a link over to Blood right now, and you feel free to bring this on screen if you want to, or drop it in the chat if you want to. But there's a set of scripts by Manifold. Just go to manifold.xyz. This will list it on OpenSea, on Rarible. It'll allow you to do larger mints in a more efficient way. It'll let you do lazy minting, because lazy minting is actually a function of being on low fee chains like Polygon. So you can do that if you want to. But on the minting side, anyway, there's quite a bit that competes with OpenSea. It's on the marketplace side, and once you create a curated list and a marketplace, that is where again,
that's what
like
I'm talking
Nick
about.
is saying,
the marketplace side of it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, there has to be an incentive there, right? On the marketplace side, like if people are going to curate something, it's like an art gallery too, an in-person gallery. The curator is going to. They're going to earn a premium from the art that is being displayed there. And in some cases, depending on the type of art that's being bought and sold, it's upwards of 25% of the purchase price of the art that's being bought and sold IRL, right? Face to face at a place like that. So we actually don't know how good we've got it, right? In the NFT world versus the fine art world.
Freaking OpenSea I've talked about this before. OpenSea had a beautiful, beautiful game plan. Take 2.5%. Nobody's even going to notice it, right? Become the biggest, the baddest. And all of a sudden they got billions of dollars coming in with basically no customer service. I got to give it to them. It freaking works. They're making money hand over fist. You might not like it, but who I forget who it was that actually wrote, the original code for OpenSea, but it's freaking genius. I will tell you that the moment we dropped Danger Close Alpha, it was on OpenSea. We didn't write it there. We didn't have the smart contract when the smart contract went live, boom, it's there and it's available. So that program that's written works. So I don't know. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I guess I was talking more so on the business and logistics side of things, like the back end, the corporate structure, right?
Well, how does it work? How would you get that to work in a decentralized fashion? Like, what's the incentive, I guess, for that to work?
I mean, for censorship, right? They are out there censoring what releases are being seen. I mean, they're on the blockchain, right? But everyone goes to OpenSea. So it's like, did the tree actually fall in the forest if no one's there?
Yeah.
So is your NFT release relevant if it's not on OpenSea? So there's a central point of censorship there if OpenSea is going to be the biggest and baddest. And I'm just wondering, like,
oh yeah, they don't want to verify people. I'll tell you that. You got to do at least 100 ETH. You got to do like a number of different things to get verified, to get that blue check. So I hear you. There's definitely something there that could be solved. I just don't know what it looks like or why someone's going to step to the plate and do it. I would love to see them do it.
Seth,
I can think of possibly one way that we do this, and that it would require a bit of a popular movement. It would require a DAO. It would require some really heavy sort of decentralization architecture. But at the end of all that, the foundation of all that, that would require some funding. So, which is why we always see this sort of thing like naturally fall back to
first.
Exactly. The VCs come back in like vultures, right? They're like, oh, well, a problem. This little problem needs disruption. Well, I mean, I got a few $1 million lying around. I wasn't going to do anything with. You think you're going to make a $1 billion in the next 5 years? Obviously, you can have $10 million. We just owned like 80% of you and your work product for the rest of your life in perpetuity, right? Like throughout the universe. So it's same old crap. We see it in every industry. So
yeah. Next subject, Celsius. Oh my God, how did I miss this one? Did you guys catch that wave? Did you buy Celsius? Pennies on the dollar?
No. But I didn't. Well, I didn't expect it.
Who did? Come on now.
Who did? Oh my! In the chat room, please.
Somebody did, but
I
sure didn't.
No, I sure missed out on this one, man. Celsius up 4,000% in 2 months. What the hell is going on here? Let me get to you, Seth. What is going on, man? This is, and you actually sent us a Uniswap page for us to take a look at. What are we looking at here?
What I think we're looking at here is I think we are looking at the forensics of what went wrong. I think we're looking at just one of the pairs that accounts for some of the volume of the Celsius token because it is an ERC20 token that is permissionless on the Ethereum network right now. And if it's permissionless, that means wash trading, ladder trading, all kinds of manipulation in an automated way with bots across Uniswap, 1inch DEX, Matcha.xyz, all of the aggregators using the Uniswap protocol. End of story. I really think that's the end of the story. There may be some centralized exchanges that are still trading it as well, but that it does allow certain arbitrage bots and some other wash trading bots to do their thing even more efficiently and stay off chain. But I think the chain is showing us already very likely some manipulation. So, why would that happen? Like, who would stand to gain from that? Well, obviously, anybody who's had their tokens locked on Celsius. Like, I mean, let's be very clear. If y'all had a few, whatever 5 figures worth of tokens locked or coins locked on Celsius, and you're like, hey, Seth, we got a problem here. It would only take a few of us to just decide, like, yeah, it's in our best interest to go write some automated trading bots and arb the crap out of this problem here, or pump the crap out of this token to try to be made whole from Celsius because they've got all the rest of our coins, right? Like, that wouldn't be a hard decision for us or for others to make. I think it's a plausible explanation in my mind.
Yeah, Sean makes a good point about it being one hell of a short squeeze. I think that's part of it, possibly. But the short squeezing would have to come from the centralized exchanges offering margin for Celsius to short. So I don't even know if CEL is trading on any centralized exchanges, any major ones. I'm not sure. Yeah. What's your take, Nick, on this situation? I mean, there are talks of, or were talks of, yeah, here we go. I got to jab you on this one. Your old Ripple looking to purchase Celsius Network. That came on Reuters, I should say, on August 10th. And then there was another rumor about Goldman Sachs looking to acquire Celsius for $2 billion. Did that aid in some of the FOMO in this price appreciation?
It absolutely probably did, and it sure I would understand why.
Yeah,
I think this is an example of like GameStop, right? So all of a sudden, people, a lot of people get into crypto as their lottery ticket. They're like, you know what? If I only put X, if I just put $100 into this, and 1,000 X's, I've got $100,000, or what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. And so I think that this might be a great example where people possibly looked at it and said, hey, listen, this is dumped so incredibly hard that it's not going to take a ton to make a massive pump. And I think that this could be an example of, hey, YOLO, let's just toss in $1,000 here and let's see what happens. And then you stoke the flame, stoke the fire by putting out news articles, which, side note, if you didn't know, I could pay for one of those. I could absolutely pay for any of those to be written. They don't have to be true. They could be straight up just BS all the way through and through. And if enough people read it, it's hype, right? We're right back to where crypto has been a lot in the mainstream media, has been hype one way or the other. And so if you can create the hype and the prices drop that far, you got enough people like, hey, let's give it a try. People were doing it with Terra when Terra absolutely and there was people that made some crazy money after Terra because it
bags on that one. I
bounced,
tried to be a degen, but didn't work out for me.
A friend, I'm not going to call him out here, but a friend of ours, a friend of the channel, lost like $1.2 million off Terra. And I just, I felt so awful for him in that. But what I was getting at was it dropped so hard, so fast that the people that caught that, I think actually even Tom Crown put in a trade when it just absolutely dumped and made some quick money. So that's kind of what I see here. I don't think to correct me if I'm wrong, Celsius isn't coming back in any form or fashion other than somebody acquiring them and trying to start to possibly make some people whole again. I don't see how else. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't see how else they're going to come back to market.
Look at that wick, though, ladies and gents. About 8 cents was the low, and we're at $3.50. That is one hell of a trade if you made it. Most probably didn't. That's how it normally goes. People probably are buying right here as we speak on the live stream. Let me go buy some Celsius, and you're going to get your nuts clipped.
Yeah.
It's flat out that simple.
Yep.
So I'm staying away from it. Wow, I mean, this big of a move, almost back up to was it their all-time high, like $5 or something?
I think they got a little higher than that. I think it got
$7
towards $8 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I didn't
$8,
track
man.
it. Celsius was like the devil to me. I didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Sorry.
So
Not been on the
Corey
portfolio
had a
tracker at all.
question. Yeah, I never touched it either. Corey Chambers asks, what is Celsius needed for? I'm personally not sure. Seth,
No clue.
you know?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that that internally they started to do wrap tokens, right? So you had the CETH, you had C Doge, and I think they had one other ticker symbol, right?
That.
So, and I mean, hey, if you listen to the tutorial videos, my voice is on that. It's not an explicit endorsement. That was work for hire because I do marketing work, right, internally, like in the industry. So, so I had kind of an inside track to just know that they were focusing on that, but they did that before anybody could smell the smoke, right? So they were already starting to wrap tokens, but they needed some kind of a governance token to be able to create the liquidity pools, because there is a side of crypto and DeFi that is just kind of like liquidity mining reward. I won't call it Ponzi; it's not the right word, but like lottery type like mindset, right? Where it's sort of like, well, I'm going to do this next LP. I'm going to do this next LP. Well, I'm going to take that LP token. I'm going to compound it because I want to try to get LP mining rewards. And then before you know it, right, like with your impermanent loss, you're kind of upside down, but you tell yourself like, oh, well, if I just hold a little bit longer, this position, this liquidity provider position, then I'll probably be okay. Because sometimes that's true. But it is another one of those ways that people kind of get caught and then wrecked because they think they're going to LP their way into enough rewards to get more than their original bag. In the case of an asset like this, that I think we're all agreeing it's going toxic right now. Yeah. Like there's no way out. Like even with LP mining, there's no way out. You're just going to get wrecked.
Is DeFi dead?
No.
No.
No, hell no.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think
Why
that
not?
I think that decentralized finance is what crypto is about. Crypto is about is about standing on your own 2 feet, being your own bank, and trying to. I think we should be able to make our own money and not have that middleman all the time. The middleman is where things get screwed up, right? Just about anything.
Let me push back because we see what's going on with Tornado Cash, right?
Yep.
Sanctions, U.S. Treasury. Could you not imagine a future where the U.S. Treasury, old fact, comes through and says all DeFi is illegal because North Korea used it once or twice.
So
Like-
yes. So I can absolutely,
You know
I
what
can
I mean?
absolutely see that, but I can also see a scenario where they try to say, hey, anything other than X, Y, and Z as it relates to cryptocurrency is flat out banned, right? I could see a scenario where that plays in too. I don't think that they're going to be able to have that much push power and control. I don't think the people are going to allow that to happen. But I think that, yes, what you're suggesting is, are they going to try to push for that? Yes. Are they going to try to put the reins and the screws to people that are trying to operate in a decentralized finance manner? Yes. But do I think that people are going to be able to adapt and pivot and be able to present something as an alternative? Yes. And that's where I think
Wisdom Bars makes, this is kind of what I'm alluding to and trying to connect the dots on. They can just pretty much blacklist all DeFi contracts. And then really, what can you do? I mean,
We've already gone there with Uniswap. Like,
yes.
if you recall, right, this last year, we already went there with Uniswap, having certain pairs delisted. And that's just Uniswap's front end, though.
Right.
So what Nick is saying, as far as the permissionless smart contracts and the scripts and the protocols, I mean, in a way, like, this is not financial advice. I am not endorsing that anybody try, like, intentionally break any laws or try to put themselves on any watch lists. But it is true that you can choose to go use Tornado Cash right now.
Yeah.
Even being on a sanctioned list.
Absolutely.
You can go do that because it's still a permissionless protocol. The same is true of Uniswap. And in that respect, Like it might be only the people with, a lot of intestinal fortitude that choose to do it, but DeFi will not die. The people will show up to keep using DeFi and all these smart contracts and all these permissionless platforms. And yes, even
I guess I was being
platforms.
hyperbolic on that question. Is DeFi dead? Of course not in that manner, but
they're going to make it hard.
The
They're going to make
effectiveness
it
of it, though, like I mean, is it going to be anything that has any tangible outcomes for us?
I think they're going to be using NFTs as part of, I think DeFi and NFTs are going to have a nice crossover, because the use case on a lot of these NFTs, you're able to do just about anything with an NFT as it sits right now in terms of you putting out the use case like on it. And so I think there's going to be some interesting plays with DeFi as it relates to NFTs. The whole thing, when we wrap all of this up, all of it, DeFi, NFTs, privacy coins, any of it, all of it can be wrapped up in the idea that, does my government like it, and are they going to be okay there, daddy? I mean, that's essentially what's happening. It's like, hey, what am I allowed to do? I'll come back in when the street lights come on there, daddy government. And I think that's what we're coming down to. It's like, we've got to figure out the pushback between what are we actually going to be able to do innovation wise and continuing to progress the crypto space versus them stifling the same. It's like a game of tug of war. And I think we've got to figure out where's the spot where we can continue to grow, but not push so hard and give so much that the government just says, absolutely not, and shuts it down. I think there's going to be hopefully a spot where we can.
I want to just quickly jump back on this one here and get your opinion on this creative way to give the government a FU. The random dustings of 0.1 ETH that came from Tornado Cash to a substantial amount of ETH addresses, a lot of celebrities and such. Seth, what do you take of this? Like, is this going to really put those individuals on that blacklist or not?
I don't think it will. And I'm going to do I'm going to do just one more there. I think people should go beyond just dusting random wallets and take some news from a couple weeks ago. The state of California, they ended their moratorium on receiving crypto donations for political activism and for political parties just ended, meaning it is legal to donate to people like Gavin Newsom and any senators in California right now.
For you.
And I am just saying, wouldn't it be amazing if they received an extremely generous donation from concerned citizens that just happened to bounce through Tornado Cash? Wow, how would that affect their views? Yep. Do you think?
I think whoever did this is a freaking champion. I legitimately think that it is a big old, thumb, basically a middle finger saying, you can tell us what we can and can't do, but we can sure make this hell on you at the same exact time. Because the reality is,
were you gonna say thumb in the ass?
No, I definitely was not gonna say that. I definitely, my God,
where the hell?
I think he was going the other end.
I was gonna say thumb in the nose.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I was wondering there.
Take your mind, take your sick mind.
Okay,
elsewhere.
all right,
Yeah, but one of you might have been a wrestler.
I was
just saying, if you're talking about checking oil, man. Jeez.
Oh my God. So I don't know. I think that it just says, hey, listen, you can shut it down. You can tell us we can't use it. But if that's the game that you're stepping into, if that's the arena you're stepping into, then let's play ball. And I think that's what's happening here, because now it's like, well, I mean, did this person really have, they could literally we could bog down all 87,000 of those IRS agents by everybody banding together. These people get hired.
Oh, easily.
Listen, not financial advice here, but for entertainment purposes, we could all take a very small amount and start just absolutely going wild with, and include the US dollar in there too. I'm sure we could probably use Zelle, and we could do all sorts of wild things to pull the banking system in and say, hey, have fun, guys. Good luck. Enjoy your job. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, another side note. I mean, you can connect these dots if you want to. The Tornado Cash contracts do work on low-fee chains like Polygon, too. Mm-hmm. You don't have to send 0.1 ETH. Just saying.
Very true. Very true. So let's jump off for the last topic for today. Let's jump off crypto. It's been a great conversation with you guys. I really appreciate both of your expertise in the space and giving this informative session with Crypto Blood, man. Let's wrap it up. Orange Man. Man, this is, you talking about setting precedents for presidents. Political, man. Mar A Lago. You guys know, most of us know what happened in Mar A Lago's, Trump's mansion or compound or whatever you want to call it, raided by the FBI. I mean, I'm seeing, I don't know if you guys saw this. There is a trend going on right now. I think it's like nuclear MAGA. It was some trend going on. I thought that was hilarious because one of the things that they said they were looking for were some nuclear codes that Trump took with him or something.
Did he take the football too?
He's still got a top secret clearance. This is the stupidest thing ever. He still has a TS clearance. So them trying to say that they're just assuming that the American people are stupid because with a TS
and he's on payroll for life. Yes. And he's got secret services if he's traveling international for life. They tried not to give
him that though, Seth. They tried not to give him secret service because of the insurrection on January 6th.
Listen, you don't have to be a Trumper to understand that this is a witch hunt, that this is saying, hey, we don't want him running. We want to put a charge on him that would not allow him to run in 2024. I think that's as simple
wonderfully
as it
timed,
is.
Right before the midterms.
Right before midterms, baby. Let's put a charge on him.
It's like you said, Keeper, you don't have to be a Trump supporter to feel like there's something wrong here. This is maybe one of the worst days in our history to see us raid a previous or former president's home.
But we can't get the Joe Biden. We can't get the Hunter Biden laptop that the FBI actually has that they're protecting. We can't get the Ghislaine Maxwell list that they actually listen. It is absolute pure and utter weaponization of the three-letter agencies. That's what it is to basically stifle or to sway an upcoming election.
Seth, what is your take on what's going on?
I mean, I'm just gonna put my seal of approval on everything Nick said. Totally, all that stuff, and it goes deeper than that, man. We can't get John McAfee's body out of Spain, which is crazy. It's a foreign government there, but I mean, how in the world was he? How in the world did he meet his end in that Spanish prison in the first place? Did we have was there some kind of an asset there waiting for him, waiting for the right opportunity? And why can't Janice get the autopsy report and look at his body now, a year later? Mm-hmm. Because he was persona non grata, right, by the IRS and by the United States. But in 2020, when he made his presidential bid, Blood knows what I'm talking about. Both he and I'm going to think about it. Tether guy. You know who I'm talking about.
Tether guy.
Former child actor.
Oh, Brock.
Always wears the hat. Brock. Good grief. I feel terrible. But Brock also, right? So Brock and John McAfee both put in a presidential bid 2020. Why? Because it's understood commonly that there can't be a serious inquiry into that person, right? Legal inquiry into that person the moment that you do successfully have your bid accepted and you're obviously running for that office. Well, I think right now they're gearing up to block that motion from Trump before he gets there. So this is very strategic, like you're saying. Very strategic, but so many other little things, right? Like we're seeing all these little signs of the times. Like we don't, but we no longer have a government that works for us. I think is the bottom line, and they don't serve our interests, and they want to increasingly surveil us, and they want to increasingly block anybody who shows any amount of spine against the previous system. So it's all. I mean, this is just another little symptom of a much deeper sickness in our government right now. Yeah.
I saw somebody in the chat said they were a staunch liberal and it bothered the heck out of them. And I will say, I keep talking about this. Listen, this is all about division. This is all about it is creating just it's not about left, right, old, young, gay, straight, man, woman, black, white. Screw all of that. It's about us as a human race coming together and saying, hey, we can do something better and move forward. But that's not what's happening here. It's all about confusion. It's all about anger. It's about hate. It's creating this division because there's an interview with Barack Obama where he was talking about Republicans and the discussion that he had but he basically says once you have everyone fighting against each other, once you have so much confusion, once they can no longer trust the news or anything the government is doing, they have won. And that's where we're at right now. People don't trust
they
the
can
news.
go raid Orange Man, previous former president. What can they do to us?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that should show you where we are in this country, and it's very scary. And you guys should be concerned. Even I see Justin Form you is saying that, you know, is this totally justified and all of this. But you come on, let's just take a step back and a 30,000 foot view of this. The timing. You can't negate the timing, okay? If this was the case, Trump and his team have given them, I don't know how many records over the past 2 years, okay? Worked with them, and for this to happen right before midterms, you have to admit there's something nefarious and further political behind this move. Whether or not he does have something or doesn't have something, you got to look at that alone as an issue that we need to really rectify. And I don't know, man. I'm very concerned about our country, man. It's very, very concerning. Open-minded Bitcoin said, we the people need to stand up and take our country back.
Hey, I want to say,
but how do we do that? You know,
and that's the question, Blood. I'm with you. Somebody in the chat said there was no strategic political conspiracy. The FBI director was appointed by Trump. The FBI director might have been appointed by Trump, but he's not working for Trump right now. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Well, it wasn't the FBI director. It was the Department of Justice, I think, or something.
Well, I don't know who
signed off on it.
Yeah, I don't know who actually signed off on it. I forget. Yeah. But even if it was the director, he's not. I mean, that's not who he's working for now. And the reality is, this has all been weaponized, whether you like it or not. We're in some scary times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think also another one of the issues here, like kind of synthesizing the whole roundup of the news today, right? With these 87,000 armed IRS agents, and now, you know, the former POTUS, and I don't care which side, which side of the aisle he was on, right, with left or right, like was being said before. You got a former POTUS that has had his home raided. Well, they're gearing up and crewing up to have the largest law enforcement agency, essentially financial law enforcement agency that has ever existed in this country. And they're telling us that privacy in cryptocurrencies is bad. How much longer before we see a red flag law passed in relationship to cryptocurrencies to have a similar motion to what just happened to the former POTUS, right? Because if it can happen to him, obviously it can happen to any one of us plebs, to let one of these 87,000 armed IRS agents just do a no-knock to your house to look for a ledger or a trezor.
Yep.
Exactly. It's very scary times for sure. Scary times. And a parallel to this raid, we got I think the AG of New York. She's going after Trump hard. You know, he just had to go to court for that a couple of days ago. So the timing, guys, whether you like Trump, whether you're Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. You got to wake up. And like you said, the divisiveness, they're trying to really separate us in this country. So just wake up, see what's really going on here. The attack is happening on all sides, from all vectors. It is going down. We got to get ready, ladies and gentlemen. And I think, you know, not to shill what you're doing, but, you know, the whole Danger Close Alpha situation and campaign you got going on, Nick, is really a timely release.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And the thing is like, it's not even about shilling or not shilling. The reality is you have a responsibility to yourself and to your family to be prepared should something happen. It could be a natural disaster. It doesn't have to be government tyranny, right? You should have yourself and your family prepared for, you know, some sort of whatever the issue may be, you know, enter word there. And so I just would encourage people, like, learn something this week that's going to help you be more prepared than you were the day before. Maybe it's about water storage. Maybe it's about food storage. Maybe it's about freedom seeds. Maybe it's about firearms. Maybe it's maybe do something. And if you guys are looking to get involved in that, I will shill this dangerclosealpha.com. Check it out. We'd love to have you guys.
No doubt. And Seth, man, tell us what's going on your channel this week. You got any more crazy dope interviews coming up, man?
Well, I appreciate you asking. Yes, I do. It's going to be a lot of current creators that are going to be on the new Mind Your Biz home. Also, some archive interviews from privacy developers, privacy coin developers, people who've been creating the foundations for things like Tornado Cash since before Tornado Cash was a thing. And they were considering the regulatory climate back then and kind of road mapping what would we do in the event that federal governments and various agencies like the U.S. Treasury become extremely hostile towards privacy. So look for that. I'm going to be revamping some of that, chopping it into slightly more tactical interview style there, and then revisiting with them. But I think after our conversation and us kind of like chatting about it, I think I have to press some of these developers from Monero, from Zcash, from all of the other major privacy projects, press them to start adding a canary list to their projects. And see if maybe we do a community movement to start aggregating those canary list entries so that we're all better informed, without it being a clickbait thing or being a view count thing or being, what is it? The so-called, I'm trying to find a polite way to say eggplant measuring contest without doing that. We already get too many Red Bull can guys in this space, right? We got to get rid of that. But yeah, I mean, just for the community, man, for the culture, we need this. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we need this.
No doubt. Just inform you, the site is for Nick's
it's dangerclosealpha.com.
Danger Close Alpha. Yeah, dangerclosealpha.com. Check it out.
Appreciate you, man.
For sure. Well, ladies and gents, that is pretty much it, man. This has been a great live stream. I'm going to take my glasses off. I'm about to get out here in these streets. And make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Go follow all these guys. I got them in the description of this video. Please go follow my guys, Seth from Mind Your Biz and Nick from Debate Crypto. They do great content. I think, Nick, you Crypto Keeper, you stream every day, 7:30, right?
Yeah, Monday through Saturday, 7:30, just not Sunday. So, yep, we sure do.
Gotcha. And Seth, how often you upload nowadays?
I'm trying to upload daily, but it's kind of a mix, and I am trying to juggle the new home for Mind Your Biz with a more than full-time gig doing general blockchain and crypto consulting as well as education. So it's a little bit hit or miss, but I promise it's worth your time. Stay tuned.
All right, there you go, ladies and gents. We out of here. Holla. All right, ladies and gentlemen, another episode under our belt. That is number 84. Make sure you guys go follow Crypto Keeper, link in the description below. Mind Your Biz, link in the description below. And don't forget, this is the last day to get on that bloodalytics.com. Highly accurate crypto trend analysis system. Save 30% off if you sign up before tomorrow. Link in the description below. It's your boy Crypto Blood, and I'm out of here. Ha!